Well, Todd, I guess obviously the importance of ending a really long drought, and I know you haven't been here for all of it, but just a lot of your players, especially Nugent Hopkins and Everly, you can just see a real sense of relief.
Yeah, we're extremely excited and happy for that group in there, but there's a couple that have been here through a lot of pain, and couldn't be more excited for the opportunity that lies ahead of them, and maybe even more importantly, how about our fans? They've been there for 10 years. The rink's been sold out. They've gone through a lot of pain, and they stuck with us. I'm not sure that happens in any other city in the National League, but it happens here in Edmonton, so it's about time we rewarded them.
It's almost maybe a little bit of a running joke with Zach Kassian and disallowed goals.
Isn't it something? By the time he's all said and done, they're going to have another column of disallowed goals and goals, and I think he'll have a higher total on the other side. But even if he's not scoring, he's a big part of our team. He provides us energy. He's become a real good penalty killer. He does a lot of good things on the bench. You don't necessarily see him or cheer for him in those situations, but he's an important guy to our chemistry. Well, when I look back, we've gone through phases as a team, and the first thing was coming in and trying to establish boundaries and a work ethic. The second thing we tried to do was work on the mental part of the team, staying in games longer, not folding your hand. Then we tried to reduce the gap between goals for and goals against. And while we're doing all of that, we're changing things with our team. Peter and his staff have done a tremendous job in retooling the team quite quickly. And, now this year we've learned lessons as we've gone, and we've applied different principles. But, for the most part, our group has stuck with it, and they believe in each other. Now we've accomplished another task, and that was getting back into the playoffs. Believe it or not, 10 years later, that was probably the easy job. The task gets tougher now. But I like the fact that our team has been under stress at this time of the year. I think it's been really important for our organization. And when I mean stress, we're playing big games. We're playing situations where you have to block shots and win face-offs and scramble like we did in the last few minutes. We're learning how to play in those situations. So anything that we do from this point forward is a brand new experience for us.
Todd, some of these guys will be going to the playoffs for the first time. And in your experience, seeing players go through this, maybe an opportunity for guys to define themselves, from a playoff standpoint, as playoff performers, something they haven't had a chance to do.
Yeah, the season starts over, and I think one thing that's really important right now is that we maintain a level of play that we have as we head into the playoffs. And that goes for everybody. But once we get there, there's the unsung hero. There's the guy that nobody ever talks about, Chris Kontos, if anybody ever remembers those names. All of a sudden somebody's scoring 7, 8, 10 goals that haven't even scored that many during the year. And you make a name for yourself in the playoffs. And we're so inexperienced in that situation, we could have a team full of those guys. But as we proceed forward, we'll continue to evaluate as a team, as an organization. We'll make decisions moving forward on what we see and how guys behave.
Todd, would tonight be what you've talked about all year, the value of checking? Would that be tonight's game as an exemplary example of that?
Yeah, checking to win is important. I'm not sure that we've always done that here. We tried to outscore teams, but you can win games against good teams like LA, checking and playing tight 2-1. I thought for the first half of the game we got outchanged tonight. I thought in the third period we outchanged them. We had playoff changes. We talked about that a little bit. Let's have playoff changes. Let's commit to cutting 10 seconds off a shift and letting the next group go out and do it. And let's trust that next group to do it. And, so that's checking to win.
Todd, 3 weeks ago or so, there was some unsettled in your team's game, some inconsistencies, and there was some angst about town. What's gone right since then to get this turn 7 out of 8 wins now?
I don't think the angst ever got into our locker room, I can tell you that. There's some structure, there's an expected work ethic from the group, and when we don't get that, we don't win. And it's pretty simple. So we just keep reminding the guys. We show them situations where they're doing things right and things maybe not so good, and they respond. So we're at a good spot right now. We've got to continue to grow that.
Todd, sorry if you were asked about this earlier, but the fans, I mean, they're standing out there, they're excited, they were excited. How often did it come up within the group about the fans and maybe the weight that they had, and how much of a motivator was some of that?
Well, I can tell you on the, just after the game, after we win, I usually go around and shake the guys' hands, and I could hear them talking about the fans and their impact on the game, the energy they had. And I don't know if it was Zach Kassian said, that's the loudest I've ever heard this building, and the loudest he's heard the building since he's been part of the Oilers organization. And I remember back in, I think it was 2005 when we were here with Detroit, how loud Rexall was, and just had to remind him that it's going to get a lot louder if we keep doing our part.
How long do you let your team focus on tonight, and how long do you start looking forward to the next game against San Jose on Thursday?
Tomorrow morning, wake up and right back at it. We'll park this one. We'll enjoy it tonight. We'll park it. We'll have a good practice. And the next task is to try and move up in the standings, try and somehow secure a home ice position if we can. But even more importantly, maintain the level of play we have and perhaps improve it. Good night.